Hocam linki de atarsınız. Bazı kişileri alırsanız biz de paylaşalım. Canlı yayın.
Onu nasıl yapıyoruz?
Tamam hocam ben yapıyorum. Kolay gelsin.
Thank you. Okay, just for a few seconds, we should wait for our friends, then we can start for the second day first session. I hope you are fine today.
Yeah, we're fine. How are you?
Fine, thank you. I think we get used to the congratulating, and today we are much better.
Yeah, I hope so.
Our first session is going to be about human rights today. Okay?
Okay.
We're going to talk about human rights and how does it affect it. The coronavirus, how does it affect people in other countries, and how did we handle it, or are we handling it actually, or do still other countries having kind of, I don't know, protests or other things, strikes maybe? We are going to talk about them. Just for a few seconds, we are going to wait for your friends. And by the way, you can think on how did it affect the virus thing, how did the breakout and lockdown affected us, and do you think the human rights are protected during the period? We are all this for now, I guess. Let's start. Maybe your friends will join us in the following minutes. Okay. How was the precautions taken? Let's remind each other what are the precautions taken for coronavirus, and then we can discuss on them. Are they right? Are we insulted on our human rights? And is everything okay? Or how other countries, maybe in our country, we don't feel like insulted, but in other countries, how did they take it to be locked down? Did they obey the rules or did they strike out? Let's talk about it. Yes, what are the precautions that we take in Turkey? Let's start with it. Yes. Yes, Sarah.
First, the government closed some places such as schools, some self-care place like hairdresser, some cafes and restaurants, etc. Beyond this, some countries announced lockdown, and it is more effective than closures, but if the government have that money, of course. Secondly, governments made some precautions, such as wearing a mask in public spaces, keeping social distancing with other people, obeying the hygiene rules, and avoid to go out if it is not necessary. And those are some precautions and the taken preventative measures.
Yeah, the social life is kind of stopped. Starting from education, you don't have any rights to go to school. This means the educational rights are blocked. And on the other hand, in Turkey, at least for the Muslim world, people were not allowed to go to mosques to pray, right? So it's again a block for people who are used to going to mosques and pray in those places. What do you think about it? And if I don't remember, I'm not making a mistake, I remember that one of the cities in Turkey didn't accept not to go to Friday prayer, and they strike out. Am I wrong? One of the cities did that. I'm not sure which city it was, but one of the cities, it might be Adana, I guess. Somewhere they go on a strike and they said that no one can stop us going to pray for God. This was an interesting issue for us. What do you think? Did you have any kind of issues in your country, Joe? Did you have those kind of strikes in your country? Did people just accepted the blockouts, or
Yes,
did
they
they
accept.
accepted? They didn't have anything. Are you allowed to go to the holy places, like to church and the other places? Are they also locked down, or
Now
are
they reopen.
no, they can go there? Okay. Sheval, what do you think?
In Turkey, you know, there are so much Muslim people, and that's why they're being religious for going to Friday prayings, and I also saw on Twitter people were talking about how proud of they are. It may be a good thing for people's morals, like psychology, because it reminds people solidarity, and that's my opinion.
Okay, do you think it's just big deal to make a strike?
I don't think it's a big deal because there are so many different things that we have to talk about, and this is not so much of a big deal, I think.
What could have been done to express this? You know, in Turkey for the weekends and sometimes for like 3 days or 4 days of time, we were locked down in our houses, apart from the issue that we were asked to stay at home if we don't have to go outside. Apart from that, 31 cities were really locked down during the festivals and during the weekends. We were not allowed to go outside except from buying bread.
Yes.
And you remember we have seen on media that people go on a strike. People went to shops and had shopping for, like, they're not going to buy anything for rest of their lives. It was an interesting
Scene, yes.
yeah,
It was actually a sad scene, but I think there's a mistake that when they announced that there will be a lockdown, they could announce it much more earlier. So that's why there can the people wouldn't go outside at the same time, and there wouldn't be a strike or something like this.
So you think that such a thing happened because people were shocked? They were not
Yes.
expecting to be locked down.
Yeah, this is not something that every day happens. So people are getting panic and anxiety about it. So they feel like I have to do something, and they go out shopping.
Do you feel like if you don't go shopping for 2 days, you are going to die for hunger?
No, absolutely not. My family didn't go out that day, and I'm so proud of it because we will not kill. We won't kill. We won't die if we don't go outside and get some food for 2 days.
It was an interesting scene to see. People were like stepping on each other to buy foods and drinks for the weekend. It was tragicomic, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember during this period the names of the countries who didn't accept to be locked down and go on a strike? Which countries can be counted?
Maybe Italy. The people didn't listen,
Very
don't
well.
care too much.
Mhm.
That's why the cases were so high.
Mhm. Do you think there must be, I'm asking this question for all of you, of course. Do you think there must be a standard for doing something or not doing something in all the countries? Okay, in some countries, like they may not have the virus as much as the others, but still they're under a risk, you know?
Mhm.
Somehow it can spread anytime. And like even in Turkey, we now have 81 cities, but just 31 of them were locked down and the rest were living as normal. So do you think there must be a standard for everyone so that nobody will feel alone, nobody will feel left out or something during this period, because we are all sharing this problem all together as a world, not just one country or two. We are all under under risk of having that illness. Yes, Abdulrahman, good morning, welcome.
Good morning. According to your question, I think there must be lockdown in every city, in every state, because, okay, in some cities, the virus are spread everywhere. And in some cities, there are very few cases, or even some cities, they do not have any cases. But if they are open and some are closed, those the cities which are the virus are spread in those cities, what happens here, the delivery man, he goes everywhere. And even the food deliveries, even the other things are, the main thing, they all are transported from one place to another. Maybe the delivery guy is infected and he may infect the city which are not which do not means infected there. So maybe it may transfer from one place to another by the delivery person, and if he infects maybe thousands again, it will again increase cases, and again it will affect everywhere. So I think everyone should follow the rules and regulations which will be given by the government, and the government must close every city so that all will have equal things to follow.
Yeah. By the way, in this situation, maybe we can remind to each other by how the virus is carried from one to another. Do you know that? I mean, let's say we have an affected, ill person, and how does the illness spread around? There are few ways how they are carried, the virus is carried one to another. Which are these ways? Let's remind each other. One of them, if you cough or if you, the saliva that you have touches anyone else, it affects, as far as I know, it's not I mean, you are not getting infected by blood right now. It's just the saliva you have. It's the way that it is carried out. But how long does a virus live on such an object? Do you know that, Şevval?
I know it's 6 or 8 hours it can stand alive, and if there is a high temperature, then it's more easy to virus to get disappear. Yeah.
Okay, I as far as I know, Şevval said, I'm so sorry. If there is a virus on something, it can't stand above the 56 centigrade heat. it's unable to leave. So they kept on saying that when you come from outside, you should wash your hands for 20 seconds. It is easily vanished by using some soap or cleaning material, and you have to wash your clothes because it may have gets on you somehow, and you have to clean it. And they said that if you wash your clothes like 60 to 90 centigrade with hot water, they get vanished. And also Abdurrahman said it can be carried out by a delivery man. It is right, you know, because someone may give an online shopping, and on the way in one city which there is no affection at all, a virus can be carried from one city to another. So lockdown must be accepted for all. There must be a standard of keeping everyone safe. As what we were talking before you came, Zeynep and Abdurrahman. We are talking about human rights right now, and we are saying that, are you feeling insulted with the lockdowns? Because the cafes are closed, schools are closed, and also in Turkey, mosques are closed. Actually, we just had last week the first prayer, Friday prayer for the first time on the 29th of May. For about 2 months, I guess, the mosques are closed. People are not allowed to go to mosques to pray. And one city in Turkey went on a strike. They didn't want to accept that they cannot go and pray on Friday. They didn't want it. What do you think about it? Yes, Dana.
I think this is for our health. So I don't think we should accept those kind of, I don't know, people. We're seeing those kind of things in America and other countries as well. Governments are trying to control the virus, but citizens are not accept this, and I think it's a little bit selfish. I know that they have to pray on Friday, but in this situation, we're in pandemic, we are not in normal situation, so I think we should accept government. We should accept what government says to us.
Okay, do you think, as what we were talking about, do you think lockdown doing in some cities, like in Turkey, we have 81 cities, but just 31 of them were locked down during the weekends and during the festivals, and 3 or 4 days holidays we had to be locked down, but other cities were not. So do you think it's unfair? Do you think that why people go on a strike because of this? Because they don't feel equal to others and they want to go outside because they are not infected.
I don't think this is unfair because government knows something and they did it because when we are looking the numbers and statistics, we're seeing more infected people in those cities. So they did it, and it's not a kind of thing which is fair or unfair because, as I said, government just probably checked the numbers and then they saw that in big cities, a virus can spread faster, so they did it.
Okay, how about the strikes in US? Like Joe said that in their country, nobody go on a strike and they didn't close the church. Actually, they were the churches were not locked down.
They
Yes.
were locked down during that 2 months, and only now it start to reopen.
Okay, you also had a lockdown for the prayer places. Okay, sorry. Why do some countries accept what the government says by not discussing it? They just accept it and leave the way the government says. And on the other hand, other countries do not accept it. Why is the reason, do you think?
I don't.
So sorry.
Oh, Joe. So you can speak.
Joe, yes.
So I think that it is because of the ideology of the people, and the trust they have to the government. If they don't have the trust they have in the government, they will say that they are lying because they already did that with them. So it is the trust that they have with the government that helps in this situation.
Yes, Shawan.
I think as a government duty, people should be informed, and maybe the countries who follow the rules are informed well about these rules. I think that's because the differences happening among the countries. You're on.
Sorry.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Zeynep, you were going to say something. Maybe you would like to say it before I ask another question. Uh-huh.
I don't think it's about government because I think it's about citizens. I think it's about something like nationalism, or it comes from their inside. I mean, we know Americans, they're just looking for something to go out, I guess. I mean, in every situation they can find something to protest. So again, if government would say the thing that they said again, there will be a couple of people, and again they will just go out and protest. I mean, they're just protesting in every situation. So I think it's about citizens.
Okay, you mean that it's not the matter of accepting or not accepting. It's just because of the characteristics of US people.
Yes,
And
and
I understood from your comment.
yes, I also I heard something about it. Like most of the Americans are protesting just because they're bored to be at home. I mean, we can't do anything for them. I mean, you have to stay at home. It's I think it's kind of selfish. I mean, all people are in, like, everyone is just staying at home, but Americans are like, we're bored to be at home. So what can I do for you? I think it's about them.
Okay, one more question for you. Just I'm going to let you talk, Shewal, but just one question for Zainab. Can we say that because they are allowed to protest, they are able to do that? Because is it we can't protest? Actually, we want to protest maybe, but we can't because we are not allowed to protest anything in some countries. That's why we just accept it. We don't even ask questions. Or, I mean, what I'm trying to say, are they free to do this? That's why they're doing. Or it's just only because of their characteristics. They just like to strike out.
Okay, I don't think that they're so free to do this because I saw a video yesterday and there was a police car and there was. Did you see the video?
Yeah,
I mean, people were protesting and there was police car. I mean, those police said that just don't do this, just go to your home, and the people didn't listen to them, and then policeman just go on them with his car. I mean, people were died in there, and police cars were just going through them. But we can't do this in Turkey. Turkish polices are not going to do anything like that. So American people, I don't know why they're doing this, but
you know, this question is going to be for all of you. Do you think that in some countries people are allowed to do allowed to free actually to do some things? They have more rights than the other countries. So can this be accepted? Like, let's take a country of A and let's take a country of B, okay? One of them is having a citizen life, like they can do anything they like and they are allowed to say anything they wish. They have full rights of a human being. And another country has some rights, but they're not all free. So when you put a lockdown, country A is not going to feel insulted because they get used to being unable to do things. And country B is going to feel insulted because they have never told not to do something. Could it be because of this? some countries are accepting easily and the others are having some difficulties to accept these lockdowns and the precautions rather than the other countries. Yes, Sheva.
For giving an example from US, Trump's just saying this is just China's virus, and we all know US is the worst for the cases, and because they're not taking measurements so great, and I don't think and they are also risking our lives, our future lives, as you said, because they're continuing to spread the virus with going out while we don't. So and I actually think, like you, it's kind of an unfair thing for rest of the countries.
Okay, this means, can we say, put it in your words, let's make like this. Some countries are more conscious about the issue. They are aware of the danger of the virus. That's why they behave. But the others are not really conscious about the issue. They are not aware of the danger, how big it is for rest of the world. That's why they are doing this. Are you trying to say this, or am I wrong?
Yes, just blaming China doesn't stop the virus.
Yeah.
So we have to inform people. We have to put measures.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Joe.
So I think that it's not the people, because in America it is different type of people because of immigration and that type of thing. So it is some people that some people do that, cause violence, but others are just there for equal rights. So, and you see some cities or the US are calm and pacific protest, and others everything is on fire. So in Germany was fine, like they also protested, but they do it like with plenty of distance, and so it's more about the people.
Yes, as Joe said, some countries even didn't accept that there's a virus existing. Am I wrong? I mean, we take some precautions. We are
No, they are like the people there because they are different people with different experiences inside of the US because of immigration, and what makes the people are different from one another. So you have people that do that because violence, and others just do for human rights. Because the cop situation in US is really bad.
On this issue, we just a little bit talked about the social media, but let's go on to that topic again and let's talk about it. Now, what we are watching on TV is the things are shown to us. As you said, the US is a cosmopolitan city, and in some states, they only accepted, like we didn't hear anything about Arizona, and we didn't hear anything about Nevada. They are not striking, they just accept it and they're staying in their homes. So we can't just blame all the country just because of a group of people go on a strike, because it's a really big country. But is it that the media is showing us this, or what do you think about it? I mean, we watch the strikes, yes, but in some countries, maybe there are strikes, but we are not aware of it because they don't allow media to show it. Could it be possible? Yes, Zeynep.
When we're looking the countries, sorry, when we're looking the countries which like DPRK, they're not showing their citizens to outside of the world. But I don't think that they are protesting in their country because we know them. I mean, they can't protest. And when we're looking China, we are not seeing any protesting people in there again. But I don't think again people are protesting in there as well because of their governments. I mean, uh, in Europe, maybe again in Europe we are not seeing people that are protesting. And again, I do think the same. But America, as I said, people are protesting, and we can see it. I mean, I don't think that countries are hiding their seasons if they are protesting. I don't think that.
Joe said that in some countries people don't trust their government. That's why they may go on a strike. Do you believe it? I mean, is it possible for a citizen not to believe the government's speeches? Because, like in Russia case, they didn't accept that there's a virus in their country, but many people died of it. We know that. We have learned later on news. So we talked about it yesterday. Do you think, you remember Zeynep, you said that there must be a channel and people could watch it and we want to believe it. How worse the case it is, it doesn't matter. If they are really trustable or they are reliable, then at least we will know what to do. We will see the light at the end of the tunnel at least. But now, if we can't rely on our government, if we can't depend on what they are saying, how can we have hopes for the future? Yes, Zeynep.
I think, yeah, it may be about government. Maybe in past times, government lied to their citizens, and then after that, citizens are having hard times to believe them again. But I think countries are so crowded places, so we can't make all people to believe one idea. Of course, everyone is thinking different. I mean, now Turkish health minister is just, as I said yesterday, just publishing the numbers and statistics. But there's people like, I don't believe this. Okay, why you're not believing this? What you know and you're not believing this? I mean, everyone is saying something, even they don't know anything about it. They're just saying this just to be against for them. So I don't think that we should just change our system just for those kind of people. But as I said, a government make them to believe. I mean, government should prove, if government thinks that they're proved themselves to the citizens, and then if still there is people that are just against for government and like don't believe them, it's, I think, those people's problem.
Okay, do you think that numbers could be hidden because of not to cause a new panic for the country?
I don't think that, because when this virus started to spread in Turkey, like we had two person, and then everyone was saying that we don't have two, we have more, but they're not saying this. Okay, but if there is more, those people have family, right? Those family would say something about it, because they're, I mean, if they were that, I mean, probably their family would just say something about it. But we can't hide that people. I don't think this could be happened. So I think it's about season's problem.
Okay, you don't believe that governments are lying. It's just people who are trying to cause panic
Yes.
in the community, maybe. Yes, Joe.
So to say otherwise, I know cases. He not lying. Like here in Portugal, like was a time. I still it is like it wasn't like lying, but was lying because
Let's not say
imagine
lying, but
imagine a
not telling
case
the truth.
was a law and imagine a case that you got coronavirus in a region. If it isn't more than 3 people, they didn't count it. So more than 3 people. So it was bigger. but now is solved. It was a logistic problem, but it could be a mistake, but it could happen. So it isn't lying, but it is like not saying the truth.
Okay. So what do you
Because
mean?
people has all their limits. So and even the numbers, if they are right, we have to know that the virus stay inside the person 2 weeks, right? And then it starts to give the symptoms.
Okay, what you're trying to say is the government is not hiding something, but if there aren't enough affected people, like less than 3 or 4, maybe 5 in a region, they don't count it as affected. That's why it might be thought like they are lying to us, but actually they are not lying. They are just keeping statistics for their health system, maybe. Am I right? Okay.
It's kind of because it was just a problem with logistic, but it was just that. But I can see extreme cases on Brazil, like people, old people die, and didn't even care of doing the test. Like they say, the number of uh, uh, breathing diseases increases like boom. So you could say that one of those people die of corona, but they put there to keep down the levels.
They didn't even know maybe they were infected because the lack of the equipments to find out that they are ill. Okay, Abdurrahman?
Yes, I really want to say in my country right now, before when there were first cases, two cases, like 1 to 2, 3 cases, the people were not that much aware of it. And the government were saying we need to be very careful. They have started they have adopting the measures, but the people were not following that much. But when slowly it was increasing day by day in every states, in every cities, then the people were trusting a little bit. Still, more people were not trusting that much. The more people were saying maybe this is not like that. Maybe they were fearing us. But slowly, when it has increased a lot, more than 80,000, 85,000, and the death cases are increasing, and it is increasing day by day. Then the people got people understood, and they were inside the house, and the government forced everyone to stay in home. The government keeps giving new, like you should protect yourself, don't this is nothing, take it serious. They were given precautions in the mobile phones, in TV, everywhere, so that all governments were understanding, and they have adopted some measures, preventative measures, so the people should follow, and the people are following still. And the government, what they did here in my country, they are, again, yesterday, as I said yesterday, they are providing everything, like stay at home, better don't come out. If you come out, it is risk for us and risk for you too. So stay home, stay safe. They were they're always saying like this. Now the people are believing, the people are trusting the government. They're not coming out. Whatever they say, they follow, as in my country. I'm saying.
Did you have any strikes at the beginning in your country, Abdurrahman?
No, there were no strikes, and still there are no strikes. People are obeying the rules, and even the government still they are supporting us in many ways.
Okay. Yes, Smile.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And I think the main problem, the main reason of this problem is lack of trust between the citizens and its government. So there should be a way that the citizens should trust, make them trust their government. I think that there's a case in Kenya whereby when the first cases of the virus was recorded, people didn't trust, didn't believe. They said that the government's lying. They thought that the government was hiding something from them. Then, after several weeks later, there was a patient who recovered from the disease, who had been in ICU for a couple of days. Then the guy took them to a television, to a TV program. Then he explained everything. He explained his experience, what he has experienced, and made the people believe that the disease is real. So I think there should be a way to make the people know and believe that the virus is serious. The best way to solve this problem is, I think, making awareness and making believe the people that the disease is serious, and that is all.
Thank you. So it's not the matter of actually believing or trusting the government, but it's the matter of self-conscious. You should know that the virus is serious and you should take it seriously for yourself, for the family maybe. Yes, Abdurrahman?
I really wanted to say one thing. When the virus was appeared in China, actually China is a Buddhist country, first of all, and the people who are Christians, Muslims, other really like Sikhs, okay, they started saying these diseases are for Buddhists. They were thinking about religions, like they are eating bats, we don't eat. Maybe those will not come to us. Bats, they eat bats. The insects, scorpions, this everything they eat. They eat so many dirty things. Even dogs, cats, they eat. So they're thinking that all the Muslims, Christians, most of them, they were saying that these are not for us. The God has sent for them because they're doing something not right. So as you know, here the virus is for everyone. This pandemic is for everyone. They don't see any skin color. They don't see any religions. This is for everyone. Either you're a good person or a bad person, that it doesn't matter.
Yes.
And the government started also, like, they don't see any color. They don't see rich, poor, nothing. This is for everyone. Even you're a king, it might be to you also. So the government started saying us like also. Then we heard that many, even some prime minister, I think there is uh, I have heard about some prime minister. They were also infected, even in London, even in some other places also. So then people started believing, oh my God, oh my, it's real.
We know that in Turkey, Fatih Terim is a popular trainer for football team. He was also infected in the first place, in the first month of the illness, and he recovered. And it doesn't, the virus doesn't choose the religion, the language, the color. It's all
You're right. Even, there is a player in Juventus at Dybala. He was infected, I think 2-3 times. So it was in yeah, but he's okay right now. He's recovered.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yes, Zainab.
First of I'm going to say two things. First of all, most of the people said it's about lack of citizens and the government. I would like to say something about it. Like we know in China, it started from there, and there was a lot of people with which affected from this virus, and they could just control it so fast, I think, and they had a system. I don't know, do you know this? But they were just following everyone, and then they could just find. I mean,
They have
if you
face recognition system.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and then they were following you, and while you're going somewhere, they were just like looking the people around you, and then they're just testing like, did the virus just pass to them from you, and those kind of things. And citizens didn't say anything for this. I mean, government were just following them, government were listening them, government were seeing them in everywhere, but citizens just accepted because they thought, I guess, I mean, with this system, they could decrease the virus, they could decrease the number, and for their life it would be helpful. So citizens didn't say anything for this. But if, for example, American government would try to do this in America, probably citizens would not accept this because, of course, they're not going to accept. I mean, I would not accept this as well. I think even it would be helpful for my health. I don't want government to follow me everywhere.
Not
I
government,
think
even the parents, right?
Yes. So I don't. I said this before. I think it's half of half. I mean, it's half about the seasons. Uh, think way. I don't know. Did I explain it well? But this is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, you mean that China or Japan was aware of the danger and they took it seriously and they didn't feel insulted while their rights were taken under because they knew that if they don't obey the rules or if they don't obey the government's directions, they might be affected and they may die. So they choose to obey everything that governments offered for them for their health. And they knew that this is for protection. And we can't blame anyone. Let's say we can't blame them as a country. We can't blame them as a religion. We can't blame them as color. We can't say that these people are like this, those people are like this. It is a personal choice. And Zeynep says that even me, I wouldn't accept to be followed by someone during a day because I know it's for my protection and for my health, but I don't want to be followed up all day. Right, Zeynep? This is what you were trying to say.
Yes.
So it's a matter of choice, not the matter of government or not the matter of only. We can't say only the trust issue, but it is the matter of choice, personal choices. Thank you. Yes, Ismail.
I think another point is how the government and response to those who are not following the measures. This one is very important because it depends on how the government is responding, how it's reacting to those who break the laws, who are not following the measures. Like there was a case in Kenya when the past months of the recorded cases, they agreed on I think they applied a form whereby there should not be like a lockdown during nights, curfew. So it's during nights there should not be anyone seen outside. So the punishment for those who are seen outside during this night is beating, they say. The first weeks, they've been beating people who are seen outside in the dark. So this one will obviously cause violence and protest. So people protested against the government and they came up with another solution that people who are seen during this curfew times and should be quarantined. And that's when people stopped protesting. It depends on how the government responds and acts to those who break the measures. Thank you.
Thank you. At the beginning, I mentioned that actually it was a question and you didn't just give me the answers, but I asked, do you think people are striking, those are more willingly to strike or appear to be willing to strike as much freedom as they have? I mean, in countries where you are not as free as you wish, or at the beginning you don't even have rights, you are more volunteer to obey the rules. And people who are given all the rights with any condition, they feel insulted when you tell them to stay at home, even if it is for their own protection. Do you agree with the idea, or
yeah,
what do you think about it?
I think people they should be aware of health comes before the rights of freedom. I know they have the right of freedom and movement, the right for movements, but before that they should know that it's risk to go outside. So they should know, and there's no way these people, they're not taking serious to this disease. They are not seeing those people dying in the hospitals, those people who are in the ICUs. So there's no way that they should be shown. So they are not viewing, they're not aware of those. So there should be a way to make them to make them believe that this virus is serious, then I think they will agree to stay at home.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Shevar.
I think there's no way to strike about for not going out, for government not letting us go for the lockdown, because it's not against the human rights, that inappropriate. But we see that like is in India, the people are beaten for going out to the streets, and also in Egypt, the government like government put like treat badly to the people who come from another countries, but the people who are coming is the Egyptians, like the own citizens, like they're not foreigner, but they treat badly, the government treat badly to them, and I think they're inappropriate for human rights, and maybe they should strike for this. But instead of this, other people go and strike.
Okay, what you mean is to be locked down for your own protection is not something to protest on, but not to be able to go back to your own country just because you are coming from some other countries and beaten for that is some issue to strike on.
Yes.
Thank you. Anyone would like to? Okay, I'm going to ask another question then. What about the migrants? How are they affected in countries? Are the precautions taken for them too? Do you know any serious issue about them? Because until the virus, we know that immigrants were trying to run away from east to west, passing by Turkey, passing by Greece, and the Europe countries were trying to host them because their lives were under danger. And now it's another issue because countries are even unable to help their own citizens, and also they have to host to other countries' people at the moment. So do you think they have enough precautions for them too? Because we talked about it yesterday, even the own citizens are unemployed at the moment. And countries doesn't have enough money. The economy is broken down. They don't even have enough money to protect their own citizens. They don't have enough money to support them with the health system, health care. And we think they are under control right now. Do we or any other country are taking care of the migrants at the moment? Yes, Shevar?
So about refugee problem, there were always refugee problems, and United Nations couldn't solve the problem. So now we have a virus problem and also a refugee issue. Yeah, so that's again something like domino effect, as you said before. If we don't solve any problem now, we have extra problem, and I don't think there's enough measures for the refugees, but maybe for those countries who have refugees inside, United Nations maybe can help these countries who has refugees, because if they can solve the refugee problem, then they can do it.
Okay. Zeynep, are you going to say something? Yes.
In this case, I mean about migrants, I do think Turkey's actions are. I support Turkey's actions because I don't remember it was in which country, but probably you all saw this in news. There was a family in some country, and the girl tweeted that we're in this country and the hospitals are not caring with us because they're full, and we are not from their country, so they're not caring with us. So Turkey sent their plane, or they sent something to take that family on there, and then they take that family to country, and then we treat them in here. So Turkey, this is just the one example. So I think countries may do this because in the other countries, people are hospitals can do those kind of things, and this is not about just nationality. Countries are doing this for old people. Hospitals are doing this for old people as well. I mean, I saw this, and there was an old woman or man, and because the doctors were saying that she's going to die, so we have a lot of virus people in there, so we should care about them. So even we're going to try to make healthy those old person, it's going to be so hard, so we should care about the younger ones. So I think this is another thing which is acceptable, and I think this is so against for human rights. And about the nationality, I think countries may do what Turkey did. I mean, they can treat their own citizens in their own country.
Okay, we are out of time, but we are going to use the second session to talk about human rights because we have some points to make more. So Abdurrahman, when we come back, first thing I'm going to make you speak. Okay? See you in 10 minutes.
Okay.